In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at Insights, Facebook Insights, Analytics. But before we do, I want to recap on the milestone that I spoke about in the last tutorial. If you go to your About section after forming a milestone, you will see that Facebook lists all milestones at the very bottom under History by Year. Not only will it be on your timeline, but it can be listed in a nice neat package just below contact information on the About page for your business. This tutorial is actually about insights. We've talked about setting up your page. We have talked about how to put up content and engage your fans. We've discussed what EdgeRank means with regards to that content. I want to share with you briefly how you build your audience, how you can build your audience. That means driving traffic to your fan page and increase the number of fans that you have. If you go build your audience and click on that down arrow, you can see that you can invite via email contacts, or invite your friends, and when they mean that, they mean your friends from your Facebook profile. You can share that page, which means it's going to load just like loading a post, and you can share it on a timeline or a page, and or you can create an ad. And as the last part of this series, we're going to look at ads, Facebook ads, how to use those effectively to promote your page. So those are the things that you can do to increase awareness from inside Facebook about your page. But here's the caveat. When you start your page, you won't see this section, Insights, right here, until you have at least 30 fans. And I'll show you what that would look like. I have a page for this product that we have not garnered any likes for and or promoted. And as you can see, Insights is missing, and it says once 30 people like your page, you'll get access to insights about your activity. And furthermore, it says this page has not been published. But for now, we'll use the Virtual Media Mavens fan page, and as you can see, there are the insights that we're looking for. This is what Facebook thinks you want to know that's most important, but we can see more by just clicking See All. But as I will share later in this tutorial, there's so much information Facebook gives you that you don't actually need. But at a glance, you can see that at the very top we have overview, likes, reach, and talking about this. And each time you click on one of these pages, you get to scroll down where you get a lot of information. As you can see, we're in the green. That's great. That's what you ideally want when you're on Facebook, is to have your numbers going up in the green instead of down. And we have 1,075 likes. And here's just an interesting fact about that. If a company has more than 1,000 Facebook likes, the average company saw a 185% increase in traffic. There's a threshold that seems to be statistically interesting, and that is more than 1,000 people liking your page, the increase in traffic to your website goes up about, on average, 185%. But this is what's interesting and will be even more interesting when we talk about advertising. That's friends of fans. We may have a little over 1,000 fans, but we have 315,537 friends of fans that we can target in advertising that I'll talk to you about in the next tutorial. But this number is actually very important, friends of fans, and we'll see that when we export data and I walk you through and cull the most important parts of that data. As I said before, Facebook gives you so much data, it's really overkill. And you can see that 61 people were talking about this. That's a 238% increase. Our reach went up by 42%, a little over 42%. However, this is a data point that actually is argued as irrelevant. Yep, they put it there, and in fact, they provide a service for pay that guarantees greater reach, and yet reach has very little impact to your fan page, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So you have to take some of this data with a grain of salt, because this isn't as important as they'd like you to think it is. But as we scroll down, we can see very easily weekly total reach and dips. We can see where the people are talking about this, and then we can see the posts we were making. Each and every post is accounted for. Why is that important? Because if you see a post that has a spike of engagement, you can then identify what kind of content most interests your fans. And that's what's so important about Facebook, engaging with your fans. As you scroll down, you can actually see that of all the posts that they list here, one received 3.47% of engagement. And if we look at what it was, there you go, infographic. That just proves the point. The number one piece of content, or edge, as Facebook would call it, that most people engage with or comment on or share is actually a picture, can be an infographic, and here you can see that of all the content we have, this one had the most engagement. It's just another reason that Facebook has created such an emphasis around the cover photo and posting photos, because of that type of engagement that comes with that kind of content. When we talk about reach, remember, in the very top tab of your analytics or insights on Facebook, just click on that button and you will get to this drop down or page. Now the interesting thing is you can set the dates for what you want to see up to 90 days. That's about the amount of time that Facebook will maintain records on your fan page, and set those between the dates you want to see what type of reach you're getting. Now, I made mention before, there's something that needs to be discussed about reach, because it is not, as Facebook would have you believe, as valuable or as insightful as Facebook would like to think it is, or have you think it is. In fact, Facebook defines reach as the reach chart shows how many people have been or have seen any content about your page. And sometimes people get really upset and discouraged when they think that their reach has dropped, and dropped dramatically. To break up the differences between organic, paid, and viral, organic reach is the number of people, fans, or non-fans who saw your content about your page in their newsfeed, ticker, or on your page. Paid would be the number of people who saw an ad or sponsored story that pointed to your page. And viral, the one that really actually matters because it's more to do with word of mouth about your page. Viral reach is the number of unique people who saw this or saw your post from a story published by a friend. That means that the friend then reposted your story, and they saw it via the friend. So of the three, probably the strongest would certainly be the viral one. That means it's being stepped on. That's a turn of phrase that we use in the industry when something is reposted and reposted and reposted, and effectively it goes viral or spreads or disseminates among people. As you can see here, we went from not a fair number, anywhere from 1100, and then all of a sudden we jump up to nearly 60,000 or 55,000 people reached. And that jump is an indication of when we launched our ad for one of our new releases to a product that we had just released. And suddenly the reach became much bigger. The problem is the reach graph in your Facebook Insights combines all three. And so let's say your story ads, you run some story ad, the reach from those ads is included in your overall reach. And when your ads reach your set fund limit, or you quit running that ad, your reach may drop significantly, as you can see here. And another consideration is how the metrics of each individual fan affects that reach. So as an example, if you had 10 fans, all of whom have about 100 friends, then their reach is considerably lower. You had 3 fans that all had 1,000 friends or fans. Suddenly you're reaching far more people. So basically, if you really want to inflate your reach, you have to attract fans with big friend lists. Even if they don't engage, your reach goes up. And that's sort of a useless, I think a very useless thing to have and concern yourself with when we talk about your fan page, is that reach, because it really does not really determine the quality of engagement, or the fact that they were reached doesn't mean that they did anything with the content. That post may show up on somebody else's timeline, but you have no idea if they did anything with that post. Did they read it? You might know that they clicked on it from your fans if it were on your wall, but you won't know it from their wall. Something to keep in mind. So reach is an ambiguous point of engagement, and Facebook makes it or emphasizes it more than it is. Basically, reach doesn't have a whole lot to do with how effective you are at engaging your fans. So you have to take the reach with a grain of salt, I think. It's not one of the bigger things that you need to focus on, although Facebook would have you believe otherwise, because in this article on November 4th, 2012, is Facebook broken on purpose to sell promoted posts? The accusation is that Facebook page owners have noticed that their accounts are driving much less traffic to their websites than they used to. In some cases, Facebook click-throughs are down by as much as half, despite a growth in likes. And even worse, some brands noticed that the drop in traffic coincided with a new Facebook feature called Promoted Post, through which brands could pay cash to push their content out to more news feeds than they would normally reach. And the brands are not happy about it, because the juxtaposition of events makes it look like Facebook is artificially driving down traffic, and then holding the old level of traffic hostage in order to generate some new revenue. Now, the Facebook would clearly insist that it's not doing this, that it isn't manipulating the feed or the reach in order to drive more sales. However, there's a trend, and this is something that's circulating, but it does beg the question, what does reach really mean? And if you're not getting quality engagement on your page, that edge created through a sharing, the highest form of value a fan can create around your content, then the rest of it is an ambiguous data point. That's what I meant when I said don't place a great deal of attention on reach. It doesn't indicate that they are really doing anything with your content, or that content would drive them to your website. The next thing we want to look at is talking about this. The last of the menus within Insight. Before we go to the export data, 123 people were talking about it, and our viral reach, 1,191 people. Again, this is information that at a glance you can easily see. What I want to draw your attention to next is the export data. And this is great because when you click on this, you can select the range that you want to look at. Then it will tell you to download to an Excel from here.